You know, if you're approached by a police employee, and I guess first we should say, why is this important? And generally, you know, I would think most folks that are here at Liberty Forum tend to be peaceful people, non-aggressive people. They respect property rights, and today, sometimes folks with badges get away with violating you or your property, and so it behooves us to speak out against that, to both safeguard our rights and to deter it from happening to ourselves or others in the future. So first off, I'd say, you know, one thing you could respond with if you are approached by a police employee, say you're walking on the street, you know, you could say, am I being detained? And if you're not, you could just keep walking on your way. Or sometimes if you ask, am I being detained, am I free to go? The police employee may just continue to pepper you with questions, and it may be a little different of an interaction from a conversation, you know, with somebody who doesn't have that costume on, you know, to just keep saying the same response back, am I being detained, am I being detained? But eventually, you know, they're going to find there's no purchase to their questions, and then they're going to respond. And if they say no, then you're free to leave. And you know, that's definitely a way to get out of a situation that could have some negative effects. Otherwise, if they say yes, you are being detained, then you could remain silent. And again, these aren't groundbreaking ideas, but they are things if they were spread more widely, if everybody knew of them, would help I think lessen, or it would help increase transparency and everything. So also never consent to searches, whether that's of your person, your property, or your house, anything like that. A lot of times, if you know, some people might say, if you have nothing wrong, if you've done nothing wrong, you've had nothing to hide, why don't you just go ahead and do it? And because if that's true, I mean, you think about it, if all of us are walking around Nashville tonight and we independently are approached by police employees and ask, hey, let me search your person, or you don't have anything on you that you shouldn't, do you? Can I search you? And if we all said, sure, go ahead, you know, I just want to get out of here, then that's not going to deter it from happening in the future. But if we all say, no, you don't have my right to, you know, not at all, and that will disincentivize them from approaching us or other folks in the future. And you know, it'll think about it from the perspective, if a stranger came up to you, would you allow a stranger to go through your property? Probably not. You know, so why would you let this person with a badge go through your property, especially when you know that they operate according to claimed double standards? It can't end well. And even if you deny them the right to the ability to search you, they might come back with, well, this is going to be harder for you. I'm going to go get a dog and I'm going to do this or that. But even so, I would say that time is a lot of times it's a bluff. And even if they do get a dog, I mean, the fact that they might call an animal to supposedly trigger to be able to search your person or whatever, I mean, that just shows that the whole system is sort of flawed, because, you know, how can an animal supposedly trigger, you know, lessen your rights to keep your property and yourself safe from a search? I mean, that alone is pretty ridiculous. But so am I being detained? Don't consent to searches. Don't self-incriminate. A lot of times police ask probing questions to try to solicit information from you, or even about a friend or a colleague, you know, where are you at, where are you going, what are you up to, what do you have in here, kind of stuff. Just don't even, it may seem trivial conversation, but a lot of times police employees are trained to sort of pull that from you. So I would advocate, especially initially if you start having police interaction, just not to even engage in these conversations. And always I suggest you remain calm, cool, and collected. You know, a lot of times it could be a nervous situation, it's one you don't want to be in. But if you're calm, cool, and collected, you're much more likely to respond, obviously with a level head. And even take some time, pause between. If you're asked a question, don't just try to like right away answer them and be on the defensive. Take a few seconds and think about what's going on, and then, you know, just remain calm, cool, and collected. Especially if you're documenting the interaction, this will help leverage the event. If it's you and a police employee on the street, and you remain calm, cool, and collected, and something does happen, if you're kidnapped and caged for no reason, then it's going to be pretty clear to people who see that video who's in the wrong. They're not going to be able to say, well, that dude was aggressive, or that dude deserved it, or he spoke back, or anything like that. Just be calm, cool, and collected. But that doesn't mean be a pushover. That means standing up for your rights and outlining what's going on. So if you are approached, a couple things I would suggest essentially can be subsumed in 2 words: document and disseminate. So document the interaction. Always film the police interaction if you're able. Then there's an objective record, and if possible, if you have a smartphone, use a live streaming app. If you don't, does anybody in here have a smartphone without a streaming app right now? A few of us. Okay, so if you go to copblock.org/apps, APPS, there's a number of apps listed on there. I use Bamboozer myself. It's a free app. You can go online, create an account, download the app, and then it's on your phone. And then, I drive with my Bamboozer app loaded, or if I'm walking down the street, if I see something, I start recording. I try to give an overview of the situation, the time, date, location, the pertinent information, so if something does happen. It's the thing the live streaming apps do is they store the content off-site. So if you yourself are kidnapped and caged, or your device is taken as evidence and it can be lost or footage deleted, the fact that the live streaming app saves a copy of it off-site really protects you. And I've seen it many times help people, get out of situations that they were in, where the scenario would have likely ended in another fashion, because that objective record is out there. It doesn't hinge then on people trying to track you down, figure out what happened to you, find out you're in a cage, and then try to figure out details and try to get them out. Instead, they can just see the subjective record and they can know for themselves what unfolded. They don't have to, it doesn't even have to be a trust thing. If I know Garrett, if I didn't even know Garrett, but I saw a video of him walking down the street, being kidnapped and caged for no reason, I could see what unfolded. I don't have to say, do I trust this guy, what he's written down about what happened? No, I can just see it for myself and know, hey, that was messed up, and come to his aid. So create a document the interaction, ideally with video, and if not, at least with, right after the incident happens while it's still fresh in your mind. So you always want to get the name and badge numbers of the people you interact with. So that's very important, and we'll go into that in a little bit why that is. So when you create the objective record, I suggest people have busy lives. They don't, it might be a very significant impact for you the first time you've ever been kidnapped and caged or something like that, or a massive miscarriage of justice in your own life. But everybody else is busy, and so you want to make it as easy as you can for them to get up to speed. So I'd suggest, even if you make a video, definitely do an overview post, and just make a quick summation at the top, maybe a paragraph or two of what happened, just to break it down, and then a longer overview so they can quickly get up to speed, and then figure out the details if they have that interest to find out. But that'll make it easy for people to figure out what the situation is, and then also include the contact information for the individuals, the agencies that were involved, so that they can follow up if they learn of, for example, a situation and all it is your write-up or your recount of it. They might say, oh, that's pretty unfortunate, he got wronged. But if they learn of it and there's easy to act on next step there, call these folks, let them know your thoughts. It can be a real game changer. And I myself, and I know a number of other folks in this room, have had like threats levied against them, what are called charges, because of the amount of support that comes. And that's one thing CopBlock definitely advocates, is being transparent. Instead of, if you're wronged, don't just expect to get justice in the court system, what I call legal land, because that's arbitrary, and the rules that they purport to act according to change according to their whims. They're vaguely worded so they can side with their own actors and things like that. So I would definitely encourage you, if you do find yourself in a situation where you have some threats levied against you in legal land, between the arrest date and that court proceeding, to get the word out and to try to shape the conversation. Because if you can win in the court of public opinion, if you can get the word out there and get people to weigh in on your side, then it can have a significant impact and really change how it goes forward in legal land. And especially, you could have your threats dismissed even before you get there. So that's documentation to disseminate.